guys, in the blind here in Kentucky, grinding out the Kentucky rut, peak of the rut here. Obviously this is the first the year here on the farm, first time hunting during the rut on the farm. And like we've always talked about before, every area, every region, every farm for that matter, can be a little different as far as the peak of the rut. So my analysis is right now that I feel that the 15th of November here probably is about the peak here at the farm. Had a lot of movement amped up going in to that week, and then it kind of had some lockdown. You're experiencing some lockdown. Could tell that the bucks were with the does, and then we got the good weather to work in our favor here, and we got some cruising bucks back out on their feet. So that brings us to the topic of today's video: the number one rut fail, the number one rut failure each and every year. It's always the same. What I see, there's a lot of strategy, there's a lot of planning, a lot of time off from work, a lot of time away from the family, a lot of traveling as a family, if you're a husband and wife team, father and son team, whatever that might be. You spend a lot of time preparing for the whitetail rut. The problem with it is the number one thing that I see that is a rut fail is not bringing your field notes forward. And each and every year, I'm on client property 64 last year, 49 the year before, 64 last year, 80 this year, and I see it's a very repetitive thing, and not bringing those field notes forward. What I mean by that is kind of the definition of insanity. You know what I mean? Doing the same thing year after year, expecting the same outcome, and that has so much power when you're talking about the success or the outcome of a hunt during a rut. Each and every farm is different. There are certain farms out there where you don't have to be invasive, you don't have to be, you can hunt from the outside in, and you don't have to push the envelope, and you can be successful, shooting mature bucks each and every year out of the same box blinds off the same food plot each and every year. It does happen. The farms are out there, but that's not the majority. The majority of the time is what makes that happen? What makes one of those year after year spots continue to produce? It's because there are numerous things on that. So let's touch on that. Food plots are secure. The correct habitat around them, the proper screening around those food plots, breaking those food plots up so those bucks feel secure, the does have feel secure. They're there. They're on their feet during daylight hours during the rut. So all of that plays into it. Your does are bedded close to your food source, all that kind of thing. And so there are those spots out there, but the majority of us in the country are always just a step behind, or a habitat correction away from making one of those spots on a farm. And they're out there. Every farm, I'm telling you right now, every piece of property that I've ever been on has one of those spots. But it could take a while. It could take a while to figure it out. My goal is my job is, when I come to your property, is to help you weed that out, to get to that spot quicker. I hope that makes sense. When I design these properties, we design them from the outside in. We correct your access. We make sure your food's in the right spot. We make sure you can get around food. We can get on and out of the property without blowing deer. And then, as the habitat produces, as your time in the stand shows proof, I'm all about, I get this question all the time, I don't want to move anything. I don't want to move anything that you did. And I don't want that to happen with my clients. I encourage them to move stand locations, tweak stand locations, move box blinds if and when you bring your field notes forward. So do you do it during the season? Do you not? You have to get the weather, the wind. You have to go in on a rainy day, stuff like that. You got to be smart about moving those spots. You just can't, get frustrated, go in there on a cold, day during the rut and move a stand and expect not to blow anything out. So it's a very kind of a finesse approach about how to move things and get it done during the season, but you can make it happen. Ground blinds, for example, moving ground blinds in. I've got one spot on the farm here, and I've been treating it with kid gloves. I know I bought, what happened is I bought, I wanted 4 box blinds when I bought these box blinds, and they're not the Taj Mahals, but we're making them work for the year, for the time being. I wanted 4. The gentleman had 3, so I bought 3. Well, the 3 went in the spots that I knew I wanted. In the 4th one, obviously I didn't have a 4th, and it didn't go into that very productive spot. So here I am on the outside of it, looking in, thinking how trying to strategize. Luckily, what I've got is I've got stands at the head of the draw and the bottom of the draw, and I've got, because of contour, I've got pinch points and funnels on the top and the bottom, so I feel pretty confident that I can hunt him, hunt the mature bucks on the top and the bottom. But there's a stretch of it through there. There's 200 yards or 300 yards without anything in it, and it is the rut spot. So next year there will be a stand or a blind there, and there will be a further interior rut only bow stand. So perfect example of you got to know your limits, but you also have to be you have to bring that stuff forward and correct and improve. It's not so much of a example would be, my clients reach out or when they're on the property saying, well, I'm in the wrong spot, and I know I shouldn't be here, and that's a horrible spot. Well, I don't think there's any horrible spots. You can always learn from a spot. What makes a spot horrible is leaving it there and just continuing to hunt it, continuing to blow deer, continuing not to see anything, continuing to struggle and not being productive. That's making a horrible stand worse. So in closing here, that is probably, like I said, it is the number one rut failure. Now, if you're watching this, I'm just past the crown, just past the peak of the rut here in Kentucky. So anywhere from here right straight over into that central part of Illinois, the upper half of the Midwest. You guys are, finishing up with the peak of the rut. We're going into that post-rut time period, and the mentality of the deer here within a couple of weeks are going to start changing. They're going to start. I've got a couple bucks here on the farm that have dropped 30 plus pounds. They get into that 20%, 30% body weight loss because they're running, so they go back to food. So as we move forward here, we're going to switch back out of the rut mentality. But the post-rut has a lot of potential, has a lot of things going forward as well. The strategy is different. It's not a early season. You transfer from the early season into your pre-rut strategies. You transfer from your pre-rut strategies into your rut strategies. You transfer out of your rut strategies into your post-rut strategies, and you have to be able to identify that time period. What I'd like for you to take from this video is knowing, take those field notes, go over everything that you had, pros and cons this year, right down to the tree stand. Maybe it needs to be slid back. Does it need to be slid forward? Is your access correct? And was there anything in your access that you had to walk around, make sure that's cleared out? Your habitat work, your transition, is your transition letting enough daylight into it? Is it a defined edge in front of the stand? Is there a broken piece of it where the deer were coming down the transition and then all of a sudden they're going, they're veering away from you, they're finding a hole in that transition because of a tree down or something like that? All of that stuff needs to be jotted down in your memory bank, if not on paper. Taking the journals and moving that stuff forward, taking those field notes forward, to correct the number one fail of the rut, like I said, which is not correcting anything and expecting a better outcome next year. Just getting lucky with a doe dragging a mature buck past her. Private properties have more to offer than that, and most people don't get to experience it. But maybe by watching this, maybe it will trigger. Maybe you had one of those seasons that you're picking away and it just doesn't seem like you're connecting. So they're here. I'm just picking away at them because I don't have this complete yet. I know I don't have this complete. So everything that I'm moving forward with, I'm fitting to the design to make sure my design's correct. And if I have to tweak it a little bit going into next year, you can bet that I'm going to tweak it, because by next year, this time next year, this farm will be correct. But if I don't make those moves, if I don't make those correct field notes, and I don't bring those field notes forward, I'm going to be sitting here the 18th of November next year, and sitting in a box of wine, drinking some hot chocolate or coffee, and praying that it works. And like I said, private properties have more to offer than that, guys. All properties have more, but especially private. So like we always say, take this one to the bank. It's a very powerful deal that you can make or break a rut season, strategies during the rut season, rut hunts. But if you don't take it into the next year, you're just like most of the most of the hunters in the country. We hope and pray that it works, and we're not making those habitat corrections to work in our favor. So thanks, guys.